So I'm unexpectedly stuck indoors because it just won't stop raining. So I'm watching Colette on built in a cottage whilst I just write down some lists of things and try and get myself a bit organised. The cat's down with me, one of the cats. Archie is currently being very good, but I don't know if that will last for long because he'll want to go out for his ball time. So yes, just as I'm forced to be indoors, catching up on some good YouTube stuff and just writing some lists and getting myself organised. But I do hope it stops soon, just enough for me to take the boy out. Time to write that list. Let's cosy up and get a little bit of Hygge going. Hygge, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong every time. You know what I mean. I've had this candle for the longest time and it's just sat on the shelf and it's really pretty. It's in this really lovely pot. It looks like it's been like appliqued or something. Is that the right word? It smells really nice, kind of lemony. So let's leave that burning. We'll sit down and have a little chat. Hi, I'm Shoestring Jay and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. And because we're trapped indoors, here's Archie being trapped indoors. He doesn't look that bothered, does he? Because we're trapped indoors, I thought I would make a video rather than doing any of the myriad other things that I had thought I might do, like take him for a walk. I have to be careful saying that because he can actually spell. And I thought, because I was writing lists and getting myself organised, and because for the last couple of months I've been just really trying to get myself organised, to stop procrastinating about certain things that I haven't wanted to do, to get on with stuff, to get the decorating finished, to get little odd jobs done, stuff that I've mentioned in previous videos that, you know, you sit, it's on your list, you ignore it. Well, I do. I ignore it for ages until it can't be ignored anymore. So I've been trying to just get the boring stuff done that it's really easy to just ignore. It doesn't feel that important, but at the same time it kind of weighs you down because you know it's something you should be addressing. So all of those little minor things I've been doing. And it just occurred to me that the whole kind of idea of a frugal lifestyle is quite dependent on organisation, good organisational skills, just kind of being a bit together about certain things, about your money and that kind of thing. So I thought I'd go through a few ways that I try to stay organised, which also forms the basis of a frugal lifestyle and helps me to save money. So the most obvious one, I'm probably, well, it's a very big one actually, because it saved me a lot of money immediately as soon as I started to do it, was meal planning. So particularly when I had all the family at home, not quite so much now, but I still have like a good idea of what we're going to eat throughout the week. But I don't plan lunches and breakfasts and things like that. But when the girls were all here, I did plan, not down to the nth degree because I didn't know what they would want for breakfast, for example, but I always made sure I knew there was going to be a variation on the theme for breakfast, variation on the theme for lunch, and I knew what we were going to have for dinner. So planning your meals means that you only buy what you need, and it helps you to then write an organised shopping list, which means that you go shopping, you only buy what you need, you don't waste a lot of food, and just find that you've got a fridge full of food, but you have those evenings where you think, I've literally got nothing to put together to make a meal, or I can't think of anything. And just planning in advance and then buying what you need saves so much time, it saves brain power, and it saves money. So it's really kind of a basis, one of the foundations of a frugal lifestyle, and going shopping with a list as a result of that. And then things like saving, putting money away on a regular basis. So perhaps you have one of those bank accounts like Starling or Monzo where you've got different pots. And I do have a Monzo account actually, but I also have different accounts within another bank, that like more traditional bank that I've got, where I will put money for Christmas and holidays and birthdays, and I'll have a pot for an emergency fund, and I have a pot for the car and MOT and car maintenance, and something towards the next car because, you know, this car's quite old already, it's not going to last forever, and I don't want to take out a car loan. So kind of they call it paying yourself first, don't they? So you get your money in, you pay yourself first, you put that money aside that you're going to need long term, and then you kind of budget day to day with what's left over, which takes me on to my third point, which is budgeting. So that's another thing that saved me a lot of money straight away when I started my frugal journey, was just the idea that rather than getting paid, buying stuff and keeping an eye on my account and thinking, oh, it's getting close to the edge, I haven't got any money left, or I've gone into my overdraft or whatever, I was actually thinking, right, okay, I'm going to budget this much for food, this much for outings, this much for school dinners, this much for clothing, this much for all of my bills. I know that my electricity and gas are this much, those kind of things. So actually having a written budget in some way. You might have an app, you might literally write it down on a notepad, you might use an Excel spreadsheet. It really doesn't matter what you do, as long as you have a plan for your money and you budget and you know that you can stick within your budget. And then if you can't stick within your budget, you look at what you can cut down. And being organised allows you to get by better on a limited budget and less money, and you can re-budget if you earn a little bit more. You could re-budget if, I don't know, maybe you lose your job and you have to go to a job that pays less, and you have more confidence knowing that you're going to be able to manage. You can re-budget when things go up. I mean, that's what I've had to do the last year. Everything's gone up, so I've had to look again at what I'm allowing myself to spend on the food shop, what I'm allowing out of my budget for energy and that kind of thing. So you have to take those things into account. So that's another important thing. I've got a list down here, sorry if I'm looking down so I don't forget anything. And then another thing I think is useful in terms of organisation is to kind of group all of your errands out of the house. So if you know that you're going to go to the shop and there is, I don't know, you've got to take something back to a clothing shop and it's nearby, do those things together. Get your petrol whilst you're out, get your car washed while you're out, go to the post office while you're out. Try and do it in one fell swoop rather than myriad small journeys where you're spending more time, you're spending more petrol because you're not doing it all in one journey, and maybe you're being tempted to buy more stuff because you're going into more shops. So if you kind of try and group your errands together, it can be a big time saver, a big money saver. Another thing I think is a good thing for a frugal lifestyle is to batch cook, be organised about your shopping and batch cook. So that might mean you buy a really large pack of mince instead of a small pack of mince, and you make a big pot of chili or bolognese or whatever you're going to make, and you put half of it, or 2/3 of it, however much you've bought and however many people you're feeding, it will vary. You put some of that in the freezer, so you've got some meals for another day. You could package it up in old takeaway containers, or margarine pots or Tupperware or whatever you've got, and then that saves you time. So although it perhaps takes you a little bit more time, it doesn't take, if you make 6 portions of something, it doesn't take 6 times as long. And you also can buy bigger packs, which tend to be cheaper, so it saves you money. It will save you money on energy because you've got one pot going whilst you're cooking it, rather than 6 days worth of chili or bolognese sauce. So batch cooking, particularly things like soups and winter warmers, are really good. Stews, those kind of things are really nice to have. So being organised enough to batch cook is a good thing as well. Another thing that I'm not good at, but I'm try really hard at, and I'm getting better at as I get older, I think, is keeping tidy and keeping the clutter down. And the reason that is a money saver is because if you know what you've got in your home, then you're not going to go and buy more of it. I mean, the times that I have thought, oh, I need some foil or something like that, I've gone and bought something, and then when I've organised my cupboards, I've realised that I've got 2 lots of foil hiding at the back of the cupboard that I didn't know was there because I wasn't organised, and I've gone and bought more, so those kind of things. Or you think, I've got nothing to wear, and when you actually do a declutter of your wardrobe, you remember what you've got, you put outfits together, you can actually see what you need and then start to look out for those pieces that will make up your wardrobe, those kind of things. So it saves time when you're planning what you're going to wear. and it saves money because you're not buying stuff that you've already got. Like, so you end up with multiple dresses of the same shade of blue, you know, whatever, things that you're not going to get wear out of, and it's really a waste. And you could also then look at perhaps selling some of the things you're not wearing, clothing or other items in your home, so that you're making some money back from things that you're not using. So I think that kind of keeping the clutter down and keeping tidy and keeping a kind of sense of organisation in all of your cupboards. And I have one, I'm going to do a video on it actually in the next couple of weeks, one cupboard upstairs which I just keep. It's a big cupboard in the spare room. I keep shoving stuff in there. I literally have no idea what's in there at this point. It's quite shocking. So I need to take my own advice and get that sorted out and have some space, because then I'm getting Christmas stuff now. I'm buying little bits of food, I'm buying gifts, and I can put them all in one place in that cupboard. So that's something else to consider. Another thing is remembering to pay bills. Like, not all of our bills can be automated. I personally automate as much as I can, so everything goes out by direct debit monthly. I know some people don't like doing that. I don't really understand why you wouldn't. Sip of my now cold tea. But I know some people don't trust, they don't like giving people control of what they're taking out of their bank account. Personally, for me, automating all of my bills is helpful, but I don't like automating the annual ones. So I tend to buy things like car insurance and house insurance annually because it's cheaper. And it also gives me the opportunity to shop around. So if I know when those things are happening, and I have set myself a little calendar note, I normally do it on my phone actually, because I get a little thing up saying house insurance renews in next month or whatever, then I know I need to start having a little look around, seeing if I can get a better deal. I can then approach my house insurer and say, look, you know, I can get this cheaper elsewhere. Can you match it? Or I can just move, you know, whatever I want to do. So if you kind of are organised enough to know what your annual bills are going to be, and things like, you know, budgeting for a boiler service, although you probably won't shop around in the same way for that, but you remember to do it, keeps your heating running efficiently, things like that. So it's just being organised and knowing what's what. And then, as I am sitting here talking, it is November. I am thinking about Christmas, as I've already mentioned, but I am kind of organised about Christmas in that I budget for it throughout the year. I start putting money away as soon as the last Christmas is over. I'm putting money away for the next Christmas, just a small amount. And then when it comes, I'm not shocked by it. And on top of that, I keep an eye out for gifts for people and stocking fillers, that kind of thing. As I go through the year, if I see something that's on a really good sale price, with that in my head, I can buy it at a discount. And I do it for birthdays as well, but Christmas is the thing that's kind of in my head right now. And that might mean as well that you don't necessarily buy everything as you go along, but you've got the money, and then Black Friday sales hit, and perhaps you can get some really good sales in November time. It's all next week, although I would say keep an eye on the prices well before the Black Friday sale, so you can tell whether you're getting a genuine deal or whether prices have been dropped or been increased in advance and then dropped to look good for Black Friday. There's a lot of that about, I think. So be savvy and be aware. So another thing for me personally, because I'm self-employed, I try to organise my time, and I've been really bad at it. I've been very bad at it since my dad got ill in the summer, and then of course he consequently died, and it's thrown me out. Any kind of routine I had has kind of gone by the wayside. So I'm trying to redevelop routines, and I've also stopped doing my cleaning jobs now. I had those a couple of days a week, so they gave me a bit of routine, and I kind of worked around those. So I haven't got those now. So that was one of the things I was doing today, was just thinking about, you know, blocking out bits of time during certain days, and when is a good time to go over and see my mum and help with the shopping and that kind of thing, and try and it seems to be kind of developing to a Monday, but I'm not sure if that's always going to work because I don't want to take the dog with me, so I have to leave him with Justin. So I have to make sure Justin is available. And then maybe like the cleaning here, I tend to do it towards the end of the week, so it's clean for the weekend. But I've been looking at some Fly Lady things, and I've never really taken any notice of Fly Lady, but somebody mentioned, I can't remember who it was actually, sorry, I can't think who you are, mentioned Diane in Denmark in my comments on my last video. So I had a look at her and I thought, that's really interesting. You know, I've kind of looked at the Fly Lady thing before, but not properly. So I've been exploring some of her really old videos to kind of think, well, maybe that would work for me, maybe rather than thinking I have to do all the cleaning in one go and it's a massive chore, I could kind of spread it out and be a bit more organised through the week with that. So I think that's something I'm going to be looking at. And I'm trying to kind of block out bits of time. So again, I'm trying to build up my eBay shop, and because I've been kind of just all over the place with it, like some days I'll do 2 days where I just sit and list, and then I won't do anything for 2 weeks. Well, you don't get good sales like that. The eBay algorithm likes you to regularly start listings. So it doesn't mean you have to sit and do them every day, but you can schedule them. But I need to kind of block off some time for eBay. Like this morning, I just said, right, I'm doing an hour. I'm just going to list the last few things that were sitting around that I'd photographed and put everything away. So I did that. I thought, just do that. Just get an hour, do that, get it out of the way. And then once I've done this video, I'm going to get down all of the other bits and pieces of eBay stuff. I think I'm going to list them, and they're just sitting around because they don't inspire me. But you know, quite often things that don't inspire me, I'll list them and they sell immediately. So, and quite often it's our stuff, you know, it's our stuff that's the least inspiring. So I've just got things that I could put on Facebook Marketplace because I've got an old record player. I found some really beautiful cushions that I bought at some time, and I have never really had a room to fit them in. I just thought they're lovely, so I bought them, which was just an impulse buy, which I don't do much actually, but I did. And they have literally sat in a bag in one of the cupboards for probably 3 or 4 years. I'm going to get them out and put them on Facebook Marketplace and sell them. I'll only get like a tenner for them, but a tenner is better than them sitting up taking space in a cupboard. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more organised with my time. And some of you might find that beneficial too, if you can kind of block off bits of time. I used to be better at it when I worked full time because I had to be. I only had evenings and weekends, so anything that wasn't work related I had to do in those times. I did actually write blog posts in my lunch break quite often, whereas now I'll just sit and scroll through social media when I'm eating my lunch. Because I was at work, I had limited time. I would just sit and do the bones of a blog post, and then when I had a bit more time later I would sort it out, write it properly, put in some illustrations and check all the grammar and spelling. So, you know, just making the best of your time so that when you do have some downtime, you can really relax and you're not thinking, oh, I should be doing this and I should have done that today and I should have done that. So you can not fill every hour of your day, because I don't think that's healthy. I think you should be allowing yourself time to do literally nothing. And if you've got all these things flying around in your head that you feel like you should be doing, then that's not very relaxing, is it? So being more organised with my time. So those are my thoughts anyway on how organisation goes alongside a thrifty and frugal lifestyle. Be really interested to hear your thoughts on this and what you do that you think, you know, is kind of gets you organised but also happens to save you money, or things you deliberately do because you know they're going to save you money by being this organised. Be really interested to hear in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you know next time I publish a video. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.